Rarity, Ember, A True Love by Staged Out. Like every day in Rarity's boutique, she has been very busy lately for an upcoming fashion show in Trondheim and later on in Manhattan. So that means she has very much no time with her school. But there is just one thing that she wants the most: to find her special soulpon. She has been dating a lot of stallions over the past year, but none of them seems to be right for her. Even that Spike had recently admitted his true feelings for her, but Rarity didn't have the same feelings back for him. She feels for him as a little brother, nothing else, or a good friend. Spike took it very hard at first, but he actually moved on and started dating Sweetie Belle. But Rarity wants to find her special someone. But for the past few nights, she has been having dreams about Amber. Ever since she met Amber for the first time, she thinks that Amber is one amazing dragon, even to be a royalty, and now the new current dragon lord for the dragons, which makes her even more interesting. And ever since the ponies and dragons are in peace, she wonders, could she have been falling in love with Amber? For the first time, she hasn't even any clue why she has dreams about Amber suddenly. She hasn't told any pony about this at all, because ever since the upcoming fashion shows in Trondheim and Manhattan, she has little time to spend with her friends or at the school, so she has to focus all her spare time she has for the upcoming fashion shows. She wants to tell her friends, at least some of them, about her dreams, but she doesn't know how they react, or especially if how Spike find out that even he was in love with her, but she didn't love him back, and then suddenly she have fallen in love with Amber, who is another dragon. She react one dragon to be with another dragon. She feels that Spike would hate her if he found out that she was in love with Amber rather from him. So she didn't tell any pony at all about these dreams. But she did first even believe that she was in love with Amber. She thought that these were just some random dreams that just appeared, and she believed that they would stop happening within a day or so. But in fact, they didn't. They continued to happen for even the next week. So now she gets concerned. Why would she have dreams about Amber all suddenly? Even if Amber is the royalty and Rarity is just a normal pony, unicorn. Even if that she had met Amber a few times after that she became a Dragon Lord. She thinks that Amber is kind, intelligent, and very honest to be a dragon, but she most wants to have to something more. Even she doesn't believe that Amber would ever date or be with a pony at all. So she started just ignoring those dreams and continued with her life as normally. As the upcoming show in Trondheim was over, and the next one in Manhattan, then suddenly, of all the crowd in that particular show was actually Amber and Spike. She had invited Spike part of the show, and since he has always been there for her as an inspiration and also as an honest opinion, he had actually invited Amber. That made Rarity a little bit surprised. But just before the show was even started, she actually brought them both to backstage so they could talk just before the show was going to start. Ember had asked Rarity what she thinks about the new designs. Rarity said that she had been working on it for months, and she asked Amber what she thinks about it. And since Amber isn't much in for fashion herself, but she admits that the designs are unique, something that Rarity had been working hard on. She can see how much work Rarity had put in her fashion, and that she admits she likes some pony that who really works hard to make it complete and works. And especially for her designs is actually so unique. Rarity admits that she had taken part of those inspirations from the dragons, like their scales, the colors, but either from their skin or their ability to fire. And Ember, she was very curious to even hear that she had taken some inspiration from dragons. But all she was very happy to hear. Rarity, after all, she really wants to have Amber and Spike support during this fashion show. Even after the fashion show was over, Rarity had invited Spike and Amber for lunch. And at first, Amber was not surprised that she was invited. But even so, she said yes. Spike was very happy to at least that Amber and Rarity are getting along well. But there was something different that Spike could notice. Every time when Amber talked to Rarity, she saw that she was smiling and suddenly blushing for some time. So he wonders, is something different? But he didn't pay much attention about it until nearly a week later, when he was at Rarity's boutique for helping him. She noticed that Spike was looking at her sometimes and asked what was wrong, and then he asked her that he had, and also said that he had noticed every time when she was looking at Amber, she was blushing. So he asked her if she really liked her more than as a friend. Rarity didn't want to admit it at first, but she had to be clean. She had to be honest to Spike, since she was only one of his best friends. And she told him right there exactly how she felt for Amber. And she was prepared for Spike to be furious. But that was actually more than the opposite. Spike wasn't even happy, he wasn't even mad at all. He was surprised that Amber was the pony or the creature that Rarity had fallen in love with. Rarity, are you in love with Amber? Asked Spike. All she could just do was just nod. But Spike smiled and said, I'm happy for you. Does she know? But she shook her head. Oh, so you haven't even told her yet? And she shook her head again. But you should tell her, said Spike. But Rarity didn't exactly don't know how to tell Amber. But she told Spike that he will go and tell her soon enough, because Amber is actually coming back to Ponyville for more of a vacation break from her ruling of the Dragon Lords. And she did actually, because only about a week later, Amber came back to from Dragonlands to Ponyville to stay there for a week. At first, after the first few days, she didn't mention. She wanted to be sure. She wanted to be safe, to be know for sure if Amber would accept her as she is. When she told Amber all about her feelings for her, she was actually happy. And even Amber had admitted to Rarity that she actually liked her the same thing back. And soon, this information became public that Amber was dating Rarity. And Rarity was a little bit first skeptical if many ponies would even accept her relationship with Amber. But the opposite. Many ponies were actually happy to see that Rarity was happy with someone. They had noticed how much that she was actually a little bit alone. Even she had been dating a few times before. But none of them didn't seem to working. But at least now she was happy to be with Amber. For the first time in a long time, both Amber and Rarity were happy to be together. And especially to have this special stone pond. But Rarity was a little bit afraid how to meet Amber's father, the former Dragon Lord Torch, for the first time. Ever since it's the biggest dragon that exists so far. But even Torch first believed this part was a sort of joke. But Amber explained that all this is actually true. Torch just stared at Rarity. It felt like an eternity when he looked at her, studied her, asked if she really loves Amber. And Rarity said yes, she did. Torch then said, "Well, welcome to the family, Rarity. Welcome." And he was actually very happy to see that Amber had someone. Because, in fact, Rarity had been told later by Amber that she had dating 2 dragons before she met her. But one of them was Garble, but didn't work out as well. But they remained friends, and another one was who lived in Dragontown in Philadelphia. Their relationship remained strong. In fact, Rarity used her ability to find gemstones as a gift for Amber when she came for a visit. They often went outside town on this area where the Diamond Dogs used to live, finding gemstones which she gave them to Amber as a gift so which she could eat or anything else. But their relationship remained strong over the years. But even though Rarity had sometimes doubts that this relationship would ever work out, she was actually prepared for this relationship to fail at some point. And she had actually admitted that to Amber. But that, against all odds, this relationship worked out perfectly well. And then, after nearly 4 years of being together, Amber actually proposed to Rarity. Rarity took only about a day to answer with a yes. Both Amber and Rarity were so happy to be with each other now, and especially to be together for the rest of their lives as married. They held their wedding in candlelight. Spike had been asked by Amber to be her best man and as a ring bearer, and for Rarity she chose Fluttershy as her bridesmaid. Even if there was this wedding where both were a little bit excited but mostly nervous. But after all, they did get married and they were both happy. They later actually celebrate their honeymoon at the local tropical island resort, and they both had the most great time. But even so, only back after about 5 years later, they talked about starting a family. They actually, with help of Twilight, managed to get Amber pregnant, and she actually laid an egg. They both were heard from Twilight that they're going to have a son, and both of them were really, really happy and mostly proud to be parents, but also a little bit excited. A few months later, the egg hatched, and in fact they had a boy which they named Jade Hunter. Jade Hunter was very excited as a child, always energetic, also especially like his mother, had this ability to breathe fire and also very fast fly. He also had inherited his other mother Rarity's ability to sense and even use magic, even if that he hasn't a unicorn horn, but he has two dragon horns which he used for his magic. They both were surprised that he actually was able to use magic. At first they thought that he was not going to be magical as Rarity, but they proved him wrong and he was very talented in magic. And he spends a lot of his childhood to help his mothers to find gemstones or being as an acting ambassador. But at some point later on, he actually became a teacher in Dragonlance about peace. And he was actually more of an elementary teacher. And later on, he actually became married and had two sons and one daughter of his own. And that's how Amber and Rarity found a true love and got them married. The end.